Hey guys, this is Friday Nova TFG, also known as a Transferring Gundam, and well, if you can't tell by now, I've actually moved into a new space. Since school for me actually started today, I actually recently moved into a new apartment, just so I can be close to my college in case I ever need to be on campus, because where I live, I actually live around 2.5 hours away from college, so I got an apartment nearby. And I'll be staying here for at least a year, so this will be my review area for at least a few months before I move back home for a little bit and then come back here. So if you can't tell right away, I actually don't have the best lighting. The actual light on the fan is terrible, so I actually have a total of 4 lights on right now, and hopefully it helps a little. Like, I have 2 lights currently at my table. There's a light behind me, and there's also a light on my dresser which is pointing at my table, plus the light from the sun. Hopefully, that'll be enough lighting, but it's not as good as it could be. But hopefully this helps a little. So anyways, today I'll be reviewing something a little bit different. This is something I've had for a long time. And another thing that I'm a really huge fan of, besides, of course, Transformer and Gundam, is Star Wars. I absolutely love Star Wars. In fact, I just happen to be wearing a Star Wars shirt right now. But yeah, Star Wars was my first love, and it always will be, my favorite when it comes to, Star Wars, Gundam, Transformers. Star Wars wins every time for me. And this is the Black Series Biker Scout and Speeder Bike set. Now, this set, I'm pretty sure it's actually discontinued, but I know they actually did release the Bike Scout, and for the actual Speeder Bike, I'm pretty sure it came out with a Comic-Con exclusive Return of the Jedi set, if I remember correctly. If not, you can let me know, but I'm pretty sure they recently re-released the actual bike itself, but even then I know it's an exclusive, so it's going to be hard to come by, and this pack is discontinued, so this is also hard to come by. But I just thought I'd review it because I really do like this piece, and I really am fond of these Black Series figures, even though I only have 2 currently, which is this one, and I also have an original Black Series Stormtrooper. So today I just thought I'd review something a little bit different and take a look at this guy. So without further ado, let's get into the review. So starting with the bike first, as you saw in all the close-ups, it is very well detailed. I really am a fan of all of the added paint, like all of the silver that you saw throughout on the close-ups to kind of give it a more weathered effect. Especially, I really do like how it turned out on the bottom part of here. I guess the engine part, because this part definitely gets a lot of wear and tear after use. I also really like the brown wash that they have on this pack here, and just overall, I really am a fan of all the detail. So going over some of the different features that this bike has, of course one of them is this really cool stand that it comes with, which I'll take a look at in a minute. But some things to note is that it has a little moving cannon here, so that's cool. These handles don't really move, but they're made of a rubberized kind of material, and as you can see, after a while this handle kind of started to bend in just a little bit, but that should be easy enough to kind of bend back into place. You just need to heat it up with a little bit of hot water and just bend it. But as you saw in the close-up videos, the Biker Scout can still grip the handles just fine, and it still looks natural. On the actual pedals down here, there are 2 peg holes, so you can easily plug in the Biker Scout, and it'll be nice and secure on the actual bike. Some other things to note is that if you actually want to store this, you can take this apart. This part actually can detach, which again just makes it easier to store, so that's really nice. You can see it just attaches by 2 holes and 2 tabs that just plug into those 2 holes. And yeah, so that's really nice. You don't have to worry about this breaking off over time. And yeah, just overall, the quality on this bike is just really nice. I really am a big fan of this bike, and it's just a shame that this actual line, I'm pretty sure it's like the vehicle line, because I know they're experimenting. They released a couple of other vehicles, I'm pretty sure, but this line didn't really do too well, so they discontinued it. But yeah, I mean, this is a really great quality piece. So let's take a look at this. This is pretty cool. As you can see, there is 3 different ball joints on here, and you can choose which ball joint you want to actually plug the bike into. So if you want to have it a little bit higher up, you use this one, or if you want it to be, you know, a little lower to the ground, you can use this, or you can use the little more medium-sized one. But the thing is, at least with the higher up one, since you can see this is a really thin plastic, over time I can see this wearing out a little bit as you constantly switch between the different ball joints, so I'll just be very careful with that. And as you can see, it just attaches out the bottom here. There's that hole plugs into the ball joint, and it just attaches like so, and it clicks into place. But something you might notice is the bike is a little bit heavy, and it might start to kind of droop down over time, especially with the more higher up one. But you can kind of move it around, so it's on the ball joint. You can kind of put it at different angles, so that's really cool. So if you want to, you know, get into like some more, I guess like aerodynamic looking poses, like that, flying up, down, like again at an angle. It's just really cool, and you can switch it, of course, between the other ball joints. Let me just quickly show you. The smallest one is the most sturdy because it's the closest one to the ground, and also it has a greater support with these, with this being longer, so it's a little bit easier to, you know, support the actual bike itself, so that's nice. And yeah, this is a really great accessory as well. I would just be careful with, you know, constantly switching these ball joints out. So that's about it for the bike. A really great quality piece. And now let's take a look at the actual Biker Scout figure himself. So now taking a look at the Biker Scout figure, as you saw in all the close-up shots I got. Again, it has some really nice detail. I really am a fan of kind of the brown wash they got going throughout on some of the armor pieces, especially on the boots, since, you know, he's going to be on the ground of Endor, which is very muddy. So of course his boots will get muddy. Also, just some of his other parts, like his knee pads, kind of has a slight brown wash going throughout, which isn't as noticeable as the boots. Same with here on these elbow pads here, and also on the chest, has a little bit of the brown wash going throughout there, which looks really nice. Also, you may notice that there's like a little red mark there. I'm pretty sure that's just from owning this figure for a long time, the paint getting mixed up with something, I don't know. Again, I've owned this figure for years, but I'm pretty sure that little red mark on the chest plate isn't supposed to be there. And just like some of the paint has started to chip off again, just over time. It's not anything bad, and honestly, doesn't really affect the figure. If anything, it kind of helps just, you know, get a little more weather detail. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It has a very nice texture on the actual leg, like on the black parts. It has, like, I don't know if you saw in the close-ups, but it has like this really nice bumpy texture. So that's really cool to see. And just the overall sculpt, like, is really good. Like, these actually look like realistic pants. You know, same with all of the, like, the black undersuit under the armor, all looks very realistic, and it all has a very nice texture on it, which is cool. The armor plate itself feels, you know, more smooth, and I really like, you know, like all the wrinkle details, like over here on the little pack that has the pouches, and just the belt as well is very nicely detailed. Just an overall, you know, very accurate, very nicely detailed figure. But if I have any issues with this figure, is that it does not like to stand. Like, as you saw in the close-up shots, he actually did fall over. I think it's just due to these boot designs. Like, it's hard to get it to actually stay on the ground. And like you see, I'm trying to, but no, okay, actually you can't get him to stand. It's just a little bit difficult, and if you're not careful, he will fall over. But besides that, it's a really great figure, very well detailed. So yeah, there's something else really to say about this. So let's get into the articulation now. So moving right along to the articulation, it is a older Black Series figure, so it may not have as good of articulation as some of the newer figures, but it still is pretty decent for what it is. So getting started, the head is just on a simple ball joint, so it can rotate full 360, go up and down a little, side to side just slightly, but not really too much there. The arms can, of course, rotate a full 360, go out only about that much, just because this little shoulder armor kind of bumps into the chest armor here, so not really too much range there. There is a bicep swivel, and there is an elbow bend at 2 joints, so you get a very nice bend there, so that's really great to see. The wrists are just on a simple little peg joint, but it does have a little slit there, which allows it to move up and down like that. So it can rotate a full 360 and move up and down, which is very good for gripping the handles. It makes it a little bit easier. There is no waist articulation, but there is articulation at the actual chest. So this can rotate just a little bit, but not really too much. It can also go up and down just a little bit. It doesn't really have like a real ab crunch or anything like that. So that's pretty limited there, but it is just kind of due to the design of the armor. So I don't know how they could have made that much better without breaking the sculpt. Now for the legs, there's also hindered just because of these weird pieces, and the actual cod piece itself kind of hinder it. So the legs can only really go up about that much just because it hits these side pieces here. Go back only about that much, and it can go out that much, so it's really hindered going in and out. But I mean, you're mostly going to have them, you know, on the bike, so you're not really going to have to get them in a lot of dynamic poses anyways. But there is also a thigh swivel, so that can rotate. And as for the knee bend, it also bends at 2 joints. So you get a nice full bend out of that. It's just, at least this joint, the second joint is extremely tight. And there you go. Once you get the full bend, yeah, you get a really nice movement out of the leg there. But again, you're not really gonna have to use those full joints there because you're not really gonna have them in dynamic poses anyways. But it's still nice to see the double joints. There is also a swivel at the boot area, and for the foot, it's on a little peg there so it can move up and down. And it's also on a swivel joint, so it does have a little bit of ankle pivot. So yeah, overall, really good articulation, especially for how old the figure is. It is limited in some areas, but for a figure that was released in probably around 2014, 2015, 2016, if I remember correctly, it's still really good. So let's get into the accessories very quickly, which he doesn't really come with too much because he is a biker scout, and I already kind of talked about the bike, which is the main accessory. But yeah, let's just quickly talk about the accessory, which you can already see here. So talking about accessories, he of course comes with one accessory, and that is the Biker Scout's trusty pistol, also known as the EC-17. For how small it is nicely detailed, as you saw in the close-ups. It does have some really good detail, as I said. And for storage, it actually does store in his boot there. You just put it right in there. It's not the best in the world, as if you shake it, it will fall out, which actually it's staying in pretty well, so that's good. And of course, you can also hold it in his hand easily enough. His hand is already kind of in a trigger finger position, so he's kind of just put it through his hand. And usually I just kind of put it through the first finger and then wrap the loop, the trigger finger around the trigger. And there you go. So there he is holding his small pistol. So my final thoughts on this figure, this really is a nice quality piece, and I'm really glad to have it in my collection. If you are a fan of Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, or just the Biker Scout design in general, this is a great piece to have for your collection. If you collect Black Series, or if you don't, even if you're just a Star Wars fan, it still is a great piece to have, and it's very screen accurate from what I can tell. There's not really too many issues or flaws from what I can see. And yeah, it's just a really nice movie replica piece, and I would highly recommend it to anyone's collection, even if you're not a collector and just a fan of Star Wars. But saying all that, as I said previously, this is discontinued, so it could be a little bit harder to come by. I don't really know how much it goes for nowadays. I know, as I said, you can buy the Biker Scout figure himself without the bike pretty easily because he was re-released in the archived wave. But if you're going to get the Biker Scout, you almost need to get the actual bike to go with the Biker Scout. But if you don't care about that, you can just save your money, just get the Biker Scout for a lot cheaper. But this is still a really nice set, so if you can find it for a decent price, I would definitely say to grab it. Also, I do want to apologize. I know my voice will probably sound a little bit echoey. It's just the way this room is, and also my fan is really loud, so you might also hear that in the video. So I do apologize in advance just for the bad voice audio, but that's just is how it's going to be, at least for the next couple of months. So I do apologize in advance. But anyways, if you have any questions about this figure, let me know. And just have any other questions in general, don't be afraid to comment. And yeah, that's all for me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.